Good evening, everybody. This is Phaedon with the Taylorsville Road Church of Christ. We had a bit of a technical difficulty earlier. I had actually recorded the video for you guys, but somehow it didn't go through. So I believe, okay, all right. I'm not sure what's going on with this video, but I believe you guys can hear me now. So anyway, again, this is Phelan with the Taylorsville Road Church of Christ, and we are here to give you your daily dose of encouragement. And I want us to be coming from the book of Ecclesiastes today, chapter 9, verses 13 through 18. We had a technical difficulty, of course. Again, I recorded the video prior to this one, but somehow it didn't go through. So let's go ahead and redo this video. And I'm glad that you guys can tune in so we can get our daily dose of encouragement. These videos encourage me just as much as they encourage you. So let's go ahead and turn to the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 9, and we'll be looking at verses 13 through 18. And they read as follows: This wisdom I have also seen under the sun, and it seemed great to me. There was a little city with few men in it, and a great king came against it, besieged it, and built great snares around it. Now there was found in it a poor wise man, and he by his wisdom delivered the city. Yet no one remembered that same poor man. Then I said, Wisdom is better than strength. Nevertheless, the poor man's wisdom is despised, and his words are not heard. Words of the wise, spoken quietly, should be heard rather than the shout of a ruler of fools. Wisdom is better than weapons of war, but one sinner destroys much good. So what we have here, we have Solomon. He tells a story, a true story to his audience of a poor wise man that was found in a city who had delivered this city from a great king who had besieged the city. Now, when he tells this story, he helps the reader to, or the audience rather, to understand that no one remembered the deeds of this poor wise man. His goodness, his wisdom was despised. But yet this poor wise man delivered this city from a great king. Um, and it seems to me that he was the only one who had remembered this great king. Keep in mind that Solomon was one of the wisest, or was the wisest man in his time, along with being the richest. So if anybody would know what wisdom looked like, I think it would be Solomon. But Solomon found this man to be a very wise man, and he honored this man for his strength. He says that this man's strength or wisdom was better than the weapons of war that perhaps the great king had used against the city, because this wise man with quiet words was able to deliver a city from a loud and foolish ruler with weapons of war. He says in verse 18 that wisdom is better than weapons of war, but one sinner destroys much good. I think what Solomon is trying to say is that even with such a great deed being performed, or that had been performed by this poor wise man, it was still vanity. It was meaningless. Why? Because even though it was great, it was forgotten. No one remembered what this man had done. So, in the essence of Ecclesiastes is vanity, that all things done under the sun, though they be good or bad or great or small, they become meaningless at some point. This world will become meaningless. Every effort that we put forth is meaningless, even though they may be great. Our wisdom, our knowledge, our education, our talents, everything is meaningless. The only thing that truly matters is what God remembers when we leave this world. And what matters is what we do while we are in this world. Even though they are meaningless in this world, they're not to God. So we turn over to the book of Second Timothy chapter 2. Second Timothy chapter 2, verse 19. And we'll see that God remembers what we do. Second Timothy chapter 2, verse 19 says, "Nevertheless, the solid foundation of God stands, having this seal. The Lord knows those who are his, and let everyone who names the name of Christ depart from iniquity." So even though when men might forget your goodness, even though men might forget your great act of wisdom and obedience to the gospel, God will not. God will not forget your great deed. And then we turn over to the book of Malachi, chapter 3. We turn over to the book of Malachi, and we look at chapter 3, and we go over to verse 16. Says, "Then those who feared the Lord spoke to one another, and the Lord listened and heard them. So a book of remembrance was written before him for those who fear the Lord and who meditate on his name." And so what we should understand from this is that God has a book of remembrance. And even though men might forget you, even though men might forget Christians, those who have done what's right and those who have sought after God, even though men might forget us because we somehow become the bottom of the pole, um, God won't forget us. He won't forget our righteous deeds. He won't forget our will to seek after Him. And we go and we even turn over to the book of Luke chapter 10 and verse 20. If you look at that verse, it talks about how our names are written in heaven. And so rest assured that even though your name may not be exalted for the things that you do in this world, which we don't seek to be exalted, we don't seek to be glorified, we must realize that God is giving us a sense of glory by having our names written in heaven, because our names being written in heaven says that we have done good, that we have done well while in this world. And it's a great thing to know that you have done well in this world. It will be a great thing to know if your names are written in the book of life. But you can judge that by your own actions in this world. You would know if your name should be written in God's book. So, do you think, rather, that your name is written in God's book? And again, the message of today is don't worry about what men might forget in this world when it comes to your good deeds, your wisdom, your mighty acts. God will remember. You do not need men for that. So I thank you guys for tuning in. God bless you, and I hope that this message has blessed your life. It blessed mine, and I will see you guys at another point in time. Thank you.